I'm living front row, y'all can take the mezzanine. Backseat chillin', treating life like it's a magazine. 17 and making money, with no doubt. Had a crush on Gwen Stefani, you no doubt. Like I woke up inside a new Bugatti. Let's roll out, nobody told me this was just a hobby. You know now, but if you didn't then you probably would've got it.
At 6'8", 250 pounds, the 30-year-old LeBron James is taller, heavier, and 3 years older than Steph Curry. But the King is still faster. LeBron can hit a top speed of just over 20 miles an hour. That's about 1 mile an hour faster than we've calculated for Curry in the open court.
Mentioned earlier, there's LeBron James playing the passing lane.
Oh, man! That you will see plenty of during the regular season. The swipe, followed by the slam.
How many times are we going to see things?
But Curry's game isn't about size or open court speed. In the time it takes Curry to get off a shot, about 0.4 seconds, LeBron hasn't even begun to flick his wrist on his release. And because Curry is 4 inches shorter than the average NBA player, to get the ball over bigger defenders, he typically releases a three-point shot between a 50 and 55-degree angle.
Julia banging with Bashik. Steph Curry 3. 0 for 10.
Compared to a flatter 45-degree release, Curry's ball approaches the rim at a steeper trajectory, which essentially increases the area the ball can pass through the hoop by about 19%. This advantageous trajectory is one reason why last regular season, Curry led all qualified players in pull-up three-point percentage. One area where Curry can't compare to LeBron is in the air. With a vert of roughly 40 inches, LeBron has a max touch of more than 12 feet. That gives him a range about 36% greater than Curry's. To get an inside look at what makes Kyrie Irving one of the most dangerous ball handlers in the NBA, we brought our gear to the Cavs practice facility and wired up this 3-time NBA All-Star with science. So what do you think separates you from everybody else?
Being able to accelerate off my first step going to the basket or being able to pull back for a jump shot is what kind of makes my game a little bit unique.
After testing a series of moves, data from our wireless motion tracking sensors reveals that he's able to accelerate to roughly 12 miles per hour in just 2 strides. And from a standstill at the three-point line, Kyrie can get to the rim in as little as 1.5 seconds. That's about 15% faster than the typical NBA point guard. But what really makes Kyrie so dangerous off the dribble is his innate understanding of a defender's mental chronometry, or the ability to process time. Before a crossover, Kyrie typically exposes the ball for about 1/4 of a second. Because it takes about 2/10 of a second to react to visual stimuli, this ball movement gives the defender's brain just enough time to process the bait. And as his defender shifts roughly 60% of his weight onto 1 foot, Kyrie swings the ball behind his back at up to 21 miles per hour. That's about 3 times faster than the strike of a copperhead. This allows Kyrie, in just 35/100ths of a second, to create about 5 feet of separation from his defender. And this is one reason why, during the regular season, Kyrie actually averaged more points per game off of drives than Carmelo Anthony and Kevin Durant combined. Now, possibly the greatest impact Kyrie has on the Cavs offense is his ability to open the rest of the floor for his teammates. Compared to when he was off the court this season, when he was on the floor, the Cavs shot almost 4 percentage points higher in the paint and nearly 8 percentage points higher on mid-range shots. For ESPN Sports Science, I'm John Brinkus. Even though the 2 best players in the NBA play with contrasting styles, they're equally effective. Kevin Durant's near 7'5" wingspan matches the wingspan of Roy Hibbert, even though Durant is 5 inches shorter. And despite this lanky frame, Durant is able to pull up and release a jumper in just half a second. In fact, in the average amount of time LeBron takes to pull up and get off a shot, Durant's shot is already out of his hand, more than 11 feet above the floor. And his jumper is still lethal, more than 25 feet from the bucket. But defenders can't play him too closely outside the three-point arc because with just one dribble and 3 massive 7-foot strides, Durant is already at the rim. An inch shorter, but more than 10 pounds heavier than Durant, LeBron is built more like a linebacker. But even with this thicker frame, LeBron can reach a speed of more than 20 miles per hour on the court. That's as fast as Chris Paul, who's 75 pounds lighter. And for his estimated 40-plus inch vert, at least 6 inches higher than Durant, LeBron generates more than 1,500 pounds of force at takeoff. This results in a max vertical touch of more than 12 feet. And this athleticism doesn't just help LeBron score, it also enables him to be one of the league's best setup men. His muscular upper body, comprised primarily of fast-twitch muscle fibers, helps him release 40-mile-per-hour pinpoint passes in less than half the time it takes the average NFL QB to release a pass.
For ESPN Sports Science, I'm John Brinkus.
LeBron's instantly legendary Game 7 chase down block begins when he's 88 feet away from the opposing hoop. As the play develops, LeBron covers the first 60 feet of his pursuit in just 2.67 seconds. That's a faster split than we measured from All-Pro NFL running back Jamal Charles, who LeBron outweighs by more than 50 pounds. But despite this acceleration, when Andre Iguodala accepts the pass, he's still 7 feet closer than LeBron to their eventual meeting point. LeBron is able to make up the gap with a top speed of just over 20 miles per hour, and with help from J.R. Smith's defense, which delays the release by an estimated 0.15 of a second. At liftoff, LeBron raises his center of mass by 35 inches to get his hand 11 feet 5 inches off the ground and block the ball in a window of opportunity that lasts just 0.2 of a second. That's less time than it takes to pop a bottle of champagne.
For ESPN Sports Science, I'm John Brinkus.
To analyze one of the most versatile and prolific scorers in the NBA, we enlisted 2014 League MVP, Kevin Durant. How did you become so versatile?
I just tried to make sure all 3 levels were covered on the court, from three-point shots to mid-range shots to layups and dunks. And, I just always wanted to keep my eye on the rim no matter where I am.
To record next-level data, we wire up KD in our advanced motion capture suit. Then, we challenge him to show off his versatility by reenacting some of the game's most iconic shots. First up, Dr. J's reverse layup. There you go. As KD runs toward the hoop, he exposes the ball for more than 0.2 of a second. Then, after launching, he swings his right arm around at a blistering 630 degrees per second. That's on par with the arm speed Irving used on his layup. Despite this rapid velocity, KD is able to nail the rocks off the glass trajectory and find the hole. Next up, Allen Iverson's crossover on MJ. After taking 3 setup dribbles, KD initiates a hesitation move to his left that lasts less than 0.4 of a second. That's even faster than the defender's single heartbeat. And it's nearly on par with the juke by Iverson, who's 9 inches shorter and 75 pounds lighter than KD. The juke freezes the defender long enough to allow KD to swing by and knock down the jumper. And finally, the shot. MJ over Craig Elo. Stopping on a dime to shoot, KD converts more than 70% of his horizontal velocity into vertical velocity. Add in his ridiculous 40-inch arms, KD is able to release the ball half a foot higher than MJ. This helps KD avoid the leaping 6'8" defender and drain the mid-range J.
To put Kevin Durant's historically great scoring ability in perspective, consider this. At 27, he's already won 4 scoring titles. And the only players who have more are Wilt and MJ. For ESPN Sports Science, I'm John Brinkus.
This season, Klay Thompson set an NBA record by scoring 37 points in a single quarter. So we brought him in to the ESPN Sports Science Lab to put his shooting skills to the test. During a typical shot, Thompson keeps his eyes locked on the target for at least 90% of his shooting motion. This allows him to use visual information to guide the ball until it's completely out of his hands. But what happens when we take away that stream of visual data? Thompson can be a lights-out shooter, but how well can he shoot with the lights out?
Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
With the ball less than 6 inches from his hands, Thompson shifts his view to the hoop, and the lights are cut 1/10 of a second before he even sets his feet. Although the court goes pitch black nearly as fast as it takes pupils to dilate, Thompson's proximity to the basket has already been registered in his brain by neurons called place cells. These cells create a kind of cognitive map. For Thompson, who's logged thousands of hours on a basketball court, a split-second glance gives his brain enough time to register his location. And through years of repeating his shooting motion, Thompson has burned shortcuts into his central nervous system, allowing him to repeat a release that's more than 15% faster than a typical NBA player's. And Thompson didn't just make one lucky shot in the dark. In total darkness, he knocked down an incredible 8 out of 10 shots.
Never done that before. I thought it was gonna do a lot worse. It shows you how much muscle memory it is. I shot just as well with the lights off as did the lights on.
Whether he was shooting in the light or dark, Klay Thompson's form was remarkably consistent. Data recorded by our censored basketball revealed that Klay's variance from the ideal release angle in optimal RPM was never more than 10%. For ESPN Sports Science, I'm John Brinkus.